You can't just be a musician, you need a real job. I lost count of how many times I heard that throughout my teens and 20s. Good job I chose the not at all oversaturated and lucrative business of photography to fall back on.
See you later, ya gimps.
I suppose bands are responsible for my interest in photography. I grew up with Steve Gullick's photos of Nirvana on every surface of my bedroom when I was young, and when I started to bash guitars about, I was normally the one that ended up making gig posters, or documenting whatever the hell we were up to. Way back then it was mostly camcorders and phone photos. Bands came and went. In a way, I don't find being a photographer all that different to being in a band. Everybody does it, and hardly anyone cares. And it's shit pay. And you know what, that's fine. Ultimately, I'm doing and documenting these things to look back on and think, ah, that was fun. Which it is, mostly.
Lee,
What?
successful band?
Us?
Yes.
Yeah, very.
Where can we buy alcohol? Cola. Imagine the biggest, most alcoholic cola cube you've ever had in your life.
I brought along the M10-R with a Voigtlander 3514, as I've not had a chance to use it properly at gigs yet due to the pandemic. I was curious to see how it handled in a dingy club without flash. Brian came along also and used his OG Leica Q with a little Vivitar flash that he bagged off eBay for a couple of quid. Look at this sprawling merch stand. Unfortunately, closet organ are having to get a little more creative, or desperate.
Just taking you so long.
Keith loves Fanta. You know what? I'm pretty pleased with the photos I shot. I was concerned that achieving an acceptable amount of focus would be difficult with a rangefinder. The M10R viewfinder was surprisingly clear, and focusing didn't feel any more difficult than any other situation I've been in. In fact, I mostly shot wide open, which is rare for me. ISO-wise, I was shooting between 1600 and 3200. I wasn't shy in pushing the contrast in post with these. I like my gig photos to feel a bit dirty, and I also added a ton of grain. I tend to avoid adding fake film grain when shooting digital, but that was the vibe I was going for, and shooting digital was convenient. I try and remind myself to not be so strict about things like that, because if it looks good then why not? A huge benefit of digital after all is how flexible it is, so I may as well crack on. Anyway, we were up next, so here's some of Brian's photos. Brian shot in full-blown colour, and I like them a lot. In general, I prefer gig photos in high contrast black and white, especially when used in flash. Like mac and cheese, it's a classic combination that just refuses to get old. Yeah, Brian nailed it. I'm a convert. Colour gig photos for the win. I have no idea what shape this is. And that was that. A valiant success. Oh, no it wasn't. Keith got COVID.